welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It's my honor, it's my pleasure, it is a privilege to meet such a stellar young man. You know what I'm saying? This man has been enforcing his way through life from the womb to the tomb, ladies and gentlemen. He done worked with a whole bunch of greats. I can't even name them all. Man, we go back to the Motown days. You know what I'm saying? For the people that's a little bit younger, I'm gonna need for y'all to jump on Google and research this young man right here. He's awesome. He's amazing. He never stops. I guess that's why he named it Never Stop Entertainment. Anyway, enough of me talking, and let's get into some light, some knowledge, some wisdom, and some humor. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show the home team, my big brother, Joe Mason.
And now we want to know is how you started your company, because all the information and being in the industry now, I can see, how you would get to starting your company and starting your own thing. But what pushed you into doing your own thing? Because you have an
Well, I
amazing,
think
I can
what
tell.
happens. Okay, I'm gonna hold up. I'm gonna let you finish what you were saying. Was you want to know what started me? Is that correct? What
Yeah,
started me
and
to
start.
start my own to make my own company to say, hey, I want my own brand. I'm gonna create something for me. Well, I think it's still the Motown story. How Barry created Motown because
Mhm.
Barry started Motown with $500 and took it to there. And then I saw other similar stories of like even today. You look at the Cash Money records, the Birdmans, the masterpiece, No Limit, because I know Percy Miller too. So I saw he was inspired. And you look at these guys that start these guys, entrepreneur dreams, and they nothing for nothing, leave nothing, but they start something that continues to be great. So I said, hey, you know what? I want to be the baddest record. I actually looked at it like I'm going to be the baddest record company executive that ever lived
Mm.
because I knew a lot of executives. And I knew that there was another side to the music business that people didn't know. People know the artist side. We know the artist because you're the one put out there, your face is out there. So we know you as an artist. But we don't know that behind every great artist, there's a great machine behind that artist. There's a pusher. There's somebody that's motivating. There's somebody that's taking care of business, making sure they're being treated right, promotions, marketing, the whole 9 yards with handling artists. So since I had come from a background of that, I said I would start working with independent artists and other artists. But of course, what happened is that my connections in the music business with a good friend of mine by the name of Ken Wilson, who was over at J. He came from the J Records with Clive Davis. He started J Records with Clive. And back then, J Records had Alicia Keys, Luther Vandross, Busta Rhymes, Janet Jackson. You remember J Records? They was out
Mhm.
for a while. That's what Luther was on. They was on that label. Well, so Ken Wilson kind of like said, "Man, you bad, man. Come on, let's work. Let's work, man." So he's kind of another mentor that came to the forefront, and then start saying, "I'm going to get you some of these top elite name artists," even though I knew a lot of them anyway. But he kind of formulated where I just started. Next thing I know, I was doing electronic one sheets and blasting out the music to radio, and because that's my expertise, radio promotions because I deal with a lot of program directors at radio stations. And I'm that guy behind the scene that's gonna get that music heard. I tell artists all the time, you can have a great song and then it can sit on the shelf. I've seen it. And so my connection with Ken Wilson, who was one of my best business partners, we moved the music, we moved the needle. That's what it is because the music has to be moved. So and I tell people always ask me, say, how do you do radio promotions? How do you do that? I say, well, radio promotions is built on relationships and program directors. Same way what they did with the hip hop. When the hip hop came out, hip hop in New York became hot. And once it took off, it took off. So everybody's always looking for something new in this business, to transcend and something different. I'm type of like a different type of guy. I kind of like be, I always tell artists the same old, same old, same old, same old get played out sometimes. What makes an artist unique is having their own style and stand up for the courage of their conviction of who they are and bringing that to the table because there's so much of the music that's not like it used to be in the old days. It's changed quite a bit now. But I still tell an artist, just bring what you bring to the table. But and do it all, be yourself. Because you can't be nobody else. So next. What more can I say? Like Jay-Z said.
That's so inspiring. That is so inspiring. You dropped so many gems with just what you were saying, especially with radio, and as far as a person trying to promote themselves and to get out there, who you know is very important. So some of these people need to check their attitudes, check their situations, check who you around, because a lot of people think that it's mainly and strictly about money, but like you mentioned, it is the music business. So this is a business, and who you know and network with is very important. So that's definitely some gems. People will be getting gems just watching and hearing. I also wanted to ask you about, because you mentioned radio and streams, and you know that technology has taken off. And so
Right.
everywhere you turn, you're seeing streaming sites, and it's always about the streams, and everybody wants to get up their streams. And so, what's the difference between that and radio? Because we still, they're counting radio out, but they don't understand this internet radio. That radio is how the DJs get your music spent and heard. So, what would you say is like the differences between the streams and then the radio business? And it's
Um,
so relevant.
Streams are important, but people look at streams like, oh, I gotta have streams. But at the end of the day, I tell artists all the time to accumulate, and it's almost like Snoop Dogg said, and a lot of people I know that have had the streaming part from the Pharrells and so on, who have maybe had millions and millions of streams. Even Snoop complained, I got a billion streams, and I got a billion streams, and I only got $40,000 for a billion streams. Now, the streaming thing is the streaming has radically, I want to say, reconstructed the music business a little bit. But
Hmm.
at the same time, it's important streams, but not as important as radio. When people jump in their cars, what's the first thing they do? They cut on their radio, and whether it's Pandora, whether it's Sirius XM, whether it's your local radio station, you're gonna put something on in your car, and it's just been the way. So I always tell people, you want to make songs too that you know that it sound good. It's been saying, say, we gotta make songs that sound good in the car.
Yeah.
You know, when you get in the car, they're just feel good songs and you're driving, and you know you bumping and you're doing it because that's essential. So radio's here regardless how some people say, well, radio ain't important because I got a billion streams and I did all this and all that through some marketing and some line dancing and all this other stuff. I was Lenny Williams, Mr. Cuz I Love You. I was his road manager for 8 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
anyway, Mr. Lenny, Mr. Cuz I Love, girl, you know, and everybody know who Lenny Williams is. So I did the road management thing for him too. Currently, right now, I tell people God is good because now I'm working with Eddie Levert, and I'm doing, and that came about from me working with Eric Nolan in the group. Eric Nolan of the OJs, helping him push his single and do his thing. And Eddie said, "Look, young man, I need your help," you know, and to this day, just got off the phone with him this morning. So while he's out there doing a tour at all the city wineries, so the legends. I tell people why I like working with the legends like the Lenny Williams and the Eddie Leverts. These guys been around. These guys are all the ultimate professionals. I mean, especially when you say Eddie the Bird, you're talking about a guy who's been doing it for 60 something years. The OJs, I mean, they're the soundtrack to our lives. You know, people all over the world join hands in Love Train, the backstabbing, what they do, they smile in your face when he plays. These were songs I listened to when I was young, but nowhere did I ever think that now I work with Eddie the Bird and the OJs. So it's funny how if you believe in yourself and you work hard and keep your dreams and go for your dreams. Like I tell people all the time, nothing comes to a sleeper but a dream. So if you're gonna sit there and sleep all your life, keep on dreaming. Real people get up and do what Joe Mason do. He said, never stop and we keep going. You know, I have one tattoo on my arm. I don't think people can see it because I gotta have to move up to the camera. But it ain't gonna show. But it's this one tattoo that says "never stop" across my arm. And it reads never stop. And I tell people, reading that's on my arm like that said never stop. That's the only tattoo I got. But when I wake up every morning, it's my inspiration. It's my get up and go. Look at this. and then we back to work, and we on the grind. You don't grind, you don't shine.
Yeah.
And so that's what I tell people all the time in life. If you want it, you got to go after it. So I've been doing hey, it's old saying, I ain't new to this, I'm true to this, and that's what I do. And I tell people this: I love my job. It's nothing to wake up in the morning and love your job. I love my job, and because you know how you could be in a miserable job doing what you don't want to do. It's working construction or pitchforking and cleaning, all this. You can be doing a lot of other stuff, but to do what your passion and what's inside your heart, that makes a big difference.
Mm.
I tell people strive to be the best. Uh, People don't know this. I'm also a poet though too. I read a lot of poetry too. People
Oh,
didn't know I was a poet. They didn't know that I got a book I'm working on called Poetry for Love, Life, and Inspiration coming soon, that I'm working on. And in that book, I wrote several poems, like poems that are very inspirational, motivational, that'll make you want to get up and do something with your life. Um, I have a poem titled Life is Great. People say, I like that poem. I tell them every day, I say, life is great. So live your life now before it's too late. Because you know how the story's been told. You do it now because one day you're going to be too old. Then you're going to say life passed you by, but you won't be able to tell people why. Because in life, you can do anything that you want to. The only thing to stop that is you. So, with all this knowledge, there shouldn't even be a debate. Live now and remember, life is great. And I think when I wrote Life is Great, I was more on the topic of friends that committed a suicide and wanted to give up on life. And so then a friend of mine, and then that's what I said, you got to remember, man, life is great. While you're here, do something with it. I mean, other plans, other big things coming up. So it's gonna be a big year for me. I already know it. Then talking about the Fleet DJ conference is coming up, the 17th to the 21st, where I'm on a panel down there. Several other acts, we going to be on a power panel at the Fleet DJ's Music Conference, and this is the 14th annual one. So Fleet been going 14 years strong. So I'm proud of those guys because they push the records. And if I don't have the people that can push the records, you need the DJs. My name is Joe Mason. I'm CEO of Never Stop Entertainment. I work with such greats as Eddie Levert, Omar Wilson, BSC Recordings, Tamika Scott of Escape. I mean, my list can go on, but I don't want to bore you all. But I just want to let you know I'm also a music consultant for Paragon Films. Also has been added. So where I look out for music, for to get the music as a consultant, when we get it on the Paragon Films and do soundtracks and so on. But I work with so many artists, so I don't want to take up a lot of time, because that'll be all day. Again, I'm Joe Mason. I want to say I've been in this game a long time and worked with so many artists, and I've seen this business revolve and change several times. But one thing I always tell an artist is that because I'm one of the top rated, they call me Joe the Enforcer Mason. If you pull it up, you find out I'm one of the biggest record promoters in the business. Has worked with Ken Wilson and some of the greats. Everybody say Ken, from all the way from Columbia Records over J Records with Clyde and different things. So I know how to move a record. And I tell a lot of times a lot of independent artists struggle with moving the record. That's the one thing I noticed in the industry that's hardest for independent artists. They say, well, how am I going to get this song on radio? How am I going to get on media? I tell them to do the proper steps, there's proper guidelines that you can follow. If you don't, like we said earlier, if you don't have your song registered right with media base, we can't detect the spins. A lot of people use digital radio tracker, which is good too, but you want to be able to monitor your music to know when your music is being played. And this is how you get the spin count. So I tell you, got simple people who may put a record out, and they'll put the record out, and they'll forget to put simple things like the RSC code. If it's not coded, how can we find it? And the reason that RSC code is so important, that recording code, because when you put that on there, we can track your song, whether you're media based or not. If it's played, we got that code. So my advice to artists is always make sure the preparation that you code your music. And a lot of people say, well, I didn't know I was supposed to register media based. Well, let me say something about media based. Media base is the ones for media base is how you get the Billboard. Right. So if you haven't did the steps to media base, you ain't gonna hit the Billboard charts. It's just as simple as that. And I have to deal with artists and tell them, I say, man, did you read this song with media base? Oh, who's Dave? Well, I just, just go and pick up the book, like they said, and the more you know, the more you grow. And then knowledge is the key to success. And also, if you have a dream, never stop, but also do your due diligence. And being a record promoter, I learned that the knowledge that people don't have the knowledge of how to push a song. So they call people like me, Ken Wilson, or somebody like this, and there's a few of us out there that know how to take that record from A to B and get it played. Now, the biggest other problem, I'm going to get off this mic in a minute, but a lot of times people say the budget. I don't have the budget. We've heard that a lot of times, because when you say like a Ken Wilson, they'll say, well, that's a $50,000, $60,000 budget, or $70,000. Where are we going to get that from? You know, but I say, if you can't get that, start off the record way. There's digital radio tracker, there's the crew of the fleet DJs. First of all, I acknowledge the fleet because I love them. And classic, that's my boy for years. And I say, get the record played, get it spinning. You gotta get it spinning. And who plays the record? The DJ. So DJs are very important in this business. You don't always have to think where I got to be on mainstream radio, I got to do this. The key is get your music heard. Get it heard. And if you get it heard, you never know. There could be a Julian Forsyth Mason out there that heard that song and said, oh my God, that's talent. And can make a phone call and change your life. So this is my knowledge. And the industry has changed with the streaming and so on. But we get past that, because if you keep the music out there, it helps you to be able to get shows. A lot of times artists say, I ain't getting no gigs. Well, we haven't heard nothing that you've done. So why am I going to give you a gig? Or why are you going to get booked? You know, so all that's very important. So just, the more you know. Nice meeting you, man. So good job, man.
I want to say one name to you.
Okay. Oh, okay, yeah, Virginia Beach. Cammy Grayson. Okay, now I meet you in person, man. Yeah, I know you did the Cammy Grayson. Good to see you. I told her I might show up. She knew I might show up. It's one of my artists. Okay, thank you. Also, get you some money in there for some big so definitely give me a call.
I'm an R&B artist. He wanted me to come and speak to you. He said you're a very important person. So I wanted to talk to you. Yay! Oh, you're ready? I thought you were on the stage.
I'm the guy in the hot seat.
Okay.
Oh, okay. You got my Instagram and all that? Nice to meet you, man. What do you do?
I rap, but I really was taking in what you were saying, and I can tell the experience just moves out. You just got so much knowledge. So sort of like what you said. I say, my name is Mr. James. I just moved to Atlanta, and Daniel's my manager.
Oh, Nathaniel Burke? Yeah, okay. I know him. I work with an artist. He worked with Omar Wilson and BSC Recordings and that. But you got my Instagram? At Joe Nance, J-O-N-N-E-S-T-O-P. Here it is. Joe Nance. It's not for that, boys. Hit me up. What's happening, bro? All right, good. You said this one today? Back. Now, what you got?
I told the birthday lady over but they're like the regular lady family. But I guess it got there. Now we again.
Wait, son, check it out. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, that's my boy. That's
be in touch for
okay. Yeah, definitely. Hey, this is Joe Nash. I just finished up complete DJing panel where I was used my expertise to explain how this industry works. And the panel was great. That's a great album. Got some great questions, and I'm just having a great time at the Worldwide Conference. This conference goes on every year, and it's a great annual one. Shout out to my boy Classic and all the free DJs who brought me in. Hey, I tell you this: if you want to get somewhere in this life, never stop and keep it grinding. To the top. Let's go. King Wilson, you know the legend. we make it happen. Yeah.
Jerry from the Hype Magazine.
Oh, Hype Magazine? Okay, cool. Nice to meet you, man. You got my Instagram, man?
No, but we getting ready to do it. I wasn't gonna let you pass, but I ain't.
Oh, okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good. Thank you.
Hey, check this out. I'm kicking it on My Celebrity Life with my boy Ge Holla. Make sure y'all go check him out, man. He doing big things, man. That's my boy.
You know,
My Celebrity Life, Ge Holla.
Yeah. #1, 2 weeks in a row on them DRT charts. And here's the plaque to prove it. Look at that, y'all. That, y'all. Omar Wilson, the Black Sinatra. BSC Recordings, the label. 2 weeks at #1. Grind don't stop, it'll never stop. Shout out to the homie Joe Mason. Never Stop Entertainment. Appreciate you, big bro. Hard work, baby. This is the beginning of the plaques to come. Thank everybody across this planet for the love. Time to celebrate. You heard?